I died choking on my own vomit in a dingy motel room off I-95. The bottle of cheap whiskey my family had gifted me clutched in my stiff fingers like a mocking trophy. The last thing I remembered was my brother's voice on the phone, slurring, "You're nothing without us, Nora." Just a glorified coffee fetcher. End it. And I did, pushed over the edge by years of their sneers.
Their sabotage.
Their secret that I'd carried like a noose. The embezzlement scheme they'd pinned on me to cover their tracks. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button. I woke up gasping. Not in that stale motel hell, but in my old studio apartment in Brooklyn. The summer heat of 2018 blasting through the fire escape like a fever dream. My hands, younger, unscarred, flew to my throat, feeling the pulse that shouldn't be there. The calendar on the wall screamed July 15th, the day after my college graduation from NYU, Stern School of Business. I'd aced finance, dreamed of Wall Street, but my family had other plans. Family first, Mom always said, her voice syrupy with control. I was back. And this time, I wouldn't play the loyal daughter. The hook of it all hit me like a freight train. I knew every betrayal before it landed. My brother Ethan, the golden boy with his Wharton MBA and predatory grin, had orchestrated it all in my first life. He'd fed me to the wolves at Deloitte, where I started as an audit clerk, whispering doubts to the partners about my instability. When the firm's books show discrepancies, millions siphoned by Ethan's side hustle in crypto scams, he'd planted the evidence in my laptop. She's always been jealous, he'd told the investigators, his eyes dry as he watched them cuff me.
Dad.
The spineless ex-cop turned real estate broker, signed off on the disownment papers without a word. Mom? She hosted the intervention, complete with a priest and a PowerPoint of my failures. I'd rotted in prison for 5 years, emerging broken,
Jobless.
until that final call from Ethan. Come home.
Cease.
We forgive you.
Lies.
All of it. To lure me back for one last frame-up before they sold the family brownstone out from under me.
But now?
Fuck forgiveness. I was Nora Hale. Version 2.0, armed with futures traded in blood. First order, survival. I grabbed my phone, the flip model from back then feeling like a relic, and scrolled through the contacts. No deleting Ethan's number yet, that'd tip him off. Instead, I wired what little savings I had, $800 from graduation gifts, into a Robinhood account I'd open tomorrow. In my first life, I'd ignored the crypto boom, too busy proving myself to the family leeches. This time, Bitcoin was at $6,000. I'd buy low, watch it rocket to $60,000 by 2021, and build an empire they'd never touch. The doorbell buzzed, shattering the haze. It was Mom, right on schedule, her key already turning in the lock like she owned the place. She did, technically, co-sign the lease to keep an eye on you.
Dear.
Evelyn Hale swept in. All Chanel no. 5 and judgmental squint, arms laden with takeout from Junior's Cheesecake Factory. Nora. Honey, you look like hell. Graduated yesterday and already holing up? Your father's worried sick. Dad wasn't worried. He was golfing with his buddies, pretending I didn't exist unless I could fund his next alimony payment to wife no.
3.
I forced a smile. The kind that didn't reach my eyes, the one I'd perfected in therapy sessions that never fixed the rot. Just decompressing.
Mom.
Big day tomorrow. Interview at Deloitte. Her laugh tinkled like breaking glass. That clerk position?
Oh. Sweetie.
Ethan's already placed at Goldman.
Real money there.
You? Fetching files for auditors?
It's
Quaint. She unpacked the food. Her diamond tennis bracelet. Dad's guilt gift after the affair, catching the light. Quaint. The word they'd thrown at me like confetti at my downfall. In my first life, I'd swallowed it, nodded, and showed up to Deloitte with stars in my eyes. This time, I'd use it as kindling. We ate in silence, broken only by her probing. Seen Ethan lately? He's mentoring some kid from your program, says you're too green for Wall Street. Mentoring. Code for scouting patsies. Ethan had mentored me right into oblivion, introducing me to his shady contacts who later testified against me. I chewed slowly, tasting the cheesecake like bile. Tell him congrats. And yeah, Deloitte's a foot in the door. You know me, climber. She patted my hand, her rings cold. Climb slow.
Nora.
Family sticks together.
Lies.
The secret festered even then. Ethan's first skim from Dad's brokerage account. The one I'd discovered accidentally while house-sitting. I'd confronted him. Tearful idiot that I was. And he'd sworn me to silence. Blood's thicker. Cease. Thicker than the noose of loyalty that hanged me. That night, after she left, I didn't sleep. I paced the creaky hardwood, plotting. Step 1. Dodge the Deloitte trap. I'd ace the interview, hell, outperform it, but ghost them after the offer. Step 2. Infiltrate Goldman's periphery. Ethan bragged about his intern gig endlessly. I knew the backdoor hires. The nepotism nods. But I needed leverage. The family secret? It wasn't just Ethan's theft. Buried deeper was Mom's role, funneling laundered cash through her charity events to cover Dad's gambling debts. I'd found the ledgers in my first life. Too late. After prison mail revealed the IRS sniffing around. They'd framed me to distract from it all. Dawn broke humid and gray. I suited up, thrifted blazer, pencil skirt that hugged like armor, and hit the subway to Midtown. Deloitte's glass tower loomed, a monolith of false promises. The interview was a cakewalk. I dazzled with ratios from memory. Projections pulled from the future, I should know. The partner, a balding prick named Hargrove, leaned back. Impressive. Miss Hale. Ethan's sister. Right? He speaks highly. Highly? In my first life. That praise was the poison pill. Family's everything, I said, shaking his hand firm. I'll take the offer. Start date flexible? He nodded, oblivious. I walked out into the steam of Park Avenue, heart pounding not with excitement, but fury. The offer email hit my inbox by noon. $55,000. Benefits. The works. I forwarded it to Ethan with a single emoji. Thumbs up. Let him gloat. Let him think I was still the pushover. But I wasn't applying to Goldman, not yet. Too direct. Too traceable. Instead, I hit up a recruiter contact from NYU alumni. A no-nonsense Latina named Carla who'd ghosted me before. This time, I had dirt. I casually mentioned overhearing Hargrove's affair with the HR director. Carla bit. Hooked me with a temp gig at a boutique firm in the Flatiron. Pay shit. But doors open. Chica. Shitty pay was fine. Doors were what I'd kicked down. Weeks blurred into a grind I thrived on. Mornings at the temp desk. Crunching data for mergers that'd tank in 20. Knowledge I leaked anonymously to short sellers. Pocketing microtrades on the side. Nights. I devoured Ethan's social feeds. watching him preen at Goldman mixers. He posted a pic, him and Mom at some gala. Caption: Hail power moves. Family first. My stomach twisted. In my first life, I'd crashed that gala uninvited, begging for a reference. He'd laughed. Spilled wine on my dress accidentally. This time, I'd crash it with a bomb. Crypto climbed as predicted. My portfolio hit 5 figures by September. Enough to upgrade the studio. Hire a PI discreetly. The investigator, a grizzled vet named Kowalski, dug without questions. You want the Hales skeletons? Got M in spades. Photos of Ethan's offshore accounts. Mom's shell charities. Dad's poker dens in Atlantic City. But the real gem, emails between Ethan and Hargrove, dated years back. Keep the sister busy at Deloitte. She's nosy. Nosy? I'd been their canary in the coal mine. Thanksgiving loomed. The annual Hale roast where they'd carve me up over turkey. I showed. Face painted neutral. Bearing pie from Magnolia. Dad clapped me on the back. Breath like bourbon. Clerk life, treating you good. Kiddo. Ethan smirked over his iPhone. Mom fussing with centerpieces that screamed old money insecurity. Golden, I said, clinking glasses. Heard Goldman's hiring juniors. Ethan's in, maybe vouch for me. His eyes flickered. That sharp gleam.
Sure. Cease.
But you gotta earn it.
No handouts. No handouts.
The lie that killed me. As we passed the potatoes, I dropped the first pebble. Funny. I ran into Hargrove last week. Said you two go way back.
Ethan.
Old college buds. Mom's fork paused midair. Dad coughed into his napkin. Ethan recovered smooth. Yeah. Networking. Why? Just curious. He mentioned some. Shared investments. I let it hang, watching Ethan's Adam's apple bob. The table tensed, silverware scraping like claws. Mom changed the subject to holiday cards, but the seed was planted.
Doubt.
The first crack in their facade. By New Year's, I'd leveraged the temp gig into a full-time analyst role at the boutique, 6 figures. Bonuses that made Ethan's intern stipend look like chump change. He called. Voice oily. Deloitte not panning out? Need a reference somewhere else? Translation. Why aren't you floundering? Found my lane, I replied. Voice steel. Goldman's still the dream.
Though. Hey.
That gala coming up, invite me? He hesitated, then laughed. Why not? Show you how the big leagues play. Big leagues. I'd play them until they bled. The Goldman Gala was a viper pit dressed in velvet, crystal chandeliers dripping from the ceiling of the plaza's grand ballroom, air thick with cigar smoke and ambition. I arrived solo. In a crimson gown I'd splurged on for my crypto windfall, the kind that turned heads without screaming try hard. Ethan spotted me across the room, mid-handshake with a silver-haired VP, his smile freezing like bad Botox. Mom hovered nearby, schmoozing donors for her foundation, the one that funneled cash to offshore havens. Dad was AWOL, probably nursing a slot machine upstate. Nora, Ethan hissed as I air-kissed his cheek. What's with the red? Compensating. His cologne, overpowering. Like his ego, wafted over me. Power color, I shot back, sipping champagne that fizzed like suppressed rage. Heard it's trending at Goldman. Congrats on the promotion. By the way, junior associate already. He preened, adjusting his cufflinks knockoffs. I'd bet. From his skimmed funds. Merit.
Sis.
Not like your clerk shuffle. The barb landed soft. But I saw the probe, testing if I was still the doormat. We mingled. Him name-dropping deals I'd later know imploded in the 21 crash. I nodded, laughed at the right beats, but my eyes scanned for exits. Allies. That's when I met Victor Lang, Goldman's managing director for risk management, late 40s. Salt and pepper hair. Eyes like a hawk spotting blood in the water. In my first life, he'd been the one to greenlight Ethan's hire, blind to the rot. This time, I'd make him see. Miss Hale? Victor extended a hand. Firm grip. Ethan's mentioned you. Stern grad.
Right?
Impressive transcript. Ethan choked on his scotch.
She's
finding her feet. I smiled. All teeth. Feet in the door. Actually. Analyst at Kessler Partners now. But Goldman's the endgame. Risk assessment's my jam. Saw your TED on derivatives. Brilliant. Victor's brow arched. Genuine interest sparking. Flattery with footnotes?
rare. Tell me,
What's your take on the Volcker rule loopholes? I dove in, quoting regs from memory, weaving in future scandals, the Archegos blow-up he'd oversee in 3 years. It's not just compliance, it's chess. One bad night, and the board flips. He laughed, a rumble that cut through the din. Ethan edged closer, inserting himself with forced charm, but Victor waved him off. Ethan, grab us refills. Nora and I are geeking out. Left alone with the shark. I didn't waste it. Heard whispers about internal audits. Family ties can blur lines. You know, subtle. But Victor's eyes sharpened. Always do. But we vet deep here. By evening's end, I'd slipped him my card, Kessler contact. But with a post-it. Coffee? Let's talk Volcker. Ethan cornered me in the coat check. Face flushed. What the hell was that? Sucking up to Lang? He's mine. Yours,
I echoed.
slipping into my wool coat. Thought family shared. His whisper was venom. Stay in your lane,
Nora.
or I'll make sure you skid off the road. The threat hung as I cabbed home. Manhattan lights blurring into streaks of gold. Skid off. Like the accident they'd staged in my first life, tampered brakes on my beater Civic after prison release. Written off as drunk driving. But I'd smelled the sabotage, even as the car flipped. This time, I'd drive the wrecking ball. Back at Kessler, the days sharpened into weapons. I crunched numbers on a merger that screamed fraud, shell companies tied to Eastern European oligarchs.
My boss.
A harried type named Ruiz dismissed my flags. Green light from the top.
Hale.
Don't rock it. But I did, quietly. Anonymous tips to the SEC, backed by screenshots I'd borrowed from the server. The deal cratered 2 weeks later. Headlines screaming Kessler dodges bullet in $200 million scandal. Ruiz took credit, but whispers pointed to the new blood with the eagle eye. Victor's coffee invite followed, neutral ground at Le Pain Quotidien in Tribeca. He slid into the booth, tablet in hand. Your Volcker chat stuck. And that Kessler save? Impeccable timing. No bullshit, Victor was all metrics.
No es mus.
Timing's everything in risk, I said.
Stirring my latte.
Like spotting family blind spots. Ethan's sharp.
But
Green on ethics. Victor's fork paused over his croque monsieur. Ethics? He's cleared 3 rounds. Cleared. Or fast-tracked. I leaned in. Voice low. I found some old emails. His mentorship at Deloitte, pushing associates into bad spots. And there's more. Offshore noise. He didn't flinch, but his eyes did the math. Proof. I slid a USB across the table. Kowalski's gold mine. Sanitized to point fingers up the chain without naming me.
They.
For the firm's sake. Victor pocketed it. Expression granite. Bold move. Miss Hale. Risky. Calculated, I replied. That's why you hired Ethan, potential. But potential unchecked? It's liability. He nodded.
Once.
Send your resume. We'll talk formal. The hook sank deep. Ethan's text blew up that night. Heard you met Lang. Back off. Then Mom. Family dinner Sunday. We need to chat.
Chat.
Code for intervention. Sunday in the brownstone. Long Island sprawl reeking of privilege. They ambush me over pot roast. Dad at the head, fidgeting with his tie. Mom pouring wine like arsenic. Ethan, pacing like a caged wolf. Nora, Dad started. Voice gravel. We're proud. The Kessler thing impressive. But, I prompted. Fork spearing a carrot like an enemy. Ethan exploded. But you're poaching my contacts. Lang's my in. Yours. Mom snapped. Then softened. Sweetie, it's just. Ethan's built this. You waltzing in. Stirring pots. It's ungrateful. Ungrateful. The word that chained me before. I set down my fork. The clink echoing. Built what? On whose back? I know.
Ethan.
The Deloitte plant. The crypto siphons. Mom's donations. Dad's debts. Silence. Thick as fog. Dad's face drained white. Mom's hand flew to her throat. Ethan lunged. But I was faster, phone out. Recording app live. Admit it. Or I hit send to Lang. To the IRS. You bitch, Ethan snarled. After everything. Everything you stole. I roared. The dam breaking. You framed me. Let me rot. The motel call? That was your finale. Mom gasped. Theatrical. Nora. That's paranoia. Proofs in the cloud. Evelyn. All of it. I stood. Chair scraping. Choose. Confess to Lang. Clean. Or I burn it all. Dad whimpered. We can fix this family. Family? Laughter bubbled. Bitter. You killed me. The room spun. Accusations flying. Ethan's threats. Mom's sobs. Dad's pleas. I walked out into the sleet. Heart-hammering triumph. But doubt gnawed. Was this revenge? Or just trading one cage for another? Monday. Victor called. Resumes gold. Offer, analyst, risk team. Start next month. And Ethan? Under review. The wind tasted like ash.
Isams frantic buisamails. Sis. Talk.
Mistake.
Mistake.
My death was a mistake. I accepted the offer. But the controversial call loomed. Mercy or massacre? Kowalski texted chords for meat. New dirt on the family. Something darker. A hidden affair? A bigger fraud? As I boarded the F train to Goldman orientation, the city's pulse matched mine. Faster. Fiercer. The board was set. But the King's Gambit waited. At orientation. Suits milled like sharks in chum. Victor pulled me aside. Office overlooking the Hudson Chop. The USB? It's seismic. Ethan's ties to Hargrove, Deloitte's bleeding. But Hale names clean otherwise.
Clean?
I almost laughed.
De deeper.
Mom's foundation, laundry for Dad's vices. He steepled fingers. Already on it. You're a wild card.
Nora.
Why risk family? Because blood's the best disguise for betrayal. My voice cracked. First life flashing, cuffs. Courtroom sneers. The noose of isolation. Victor nodded. Respect flickering. Then play to win. But watch your back. Hale's fight dirty.
Dirty.
Understatement. That night, Ethan's car tailed me home. Black SUV. Tinted menace. I lost him in Queens traffic, but sleep evaded. Dreams of the motel. Whiskey burn. His voice. End it. Dawn brought resolve. I'd leak selective docs, enough to sink Ethan without drowning the firm. Controversial? Hell yes. Snitching on blood. Even rotten. Twisted the knife both ways. But mercy was for the first Nora. This one? She built walls of steel. Kessler farewell drinks blurred into Goldman prep. Carla the recruiter texted, "Girl, you're a storm. Watch the lightning. Lightning."
Fitting.
The leak dropped Friday. SEC filing. Flagging Ethan's trades. By Monday, headlines screamed Goldman Jr. in insider probe. Ethan's call came at noon. You did this.
I'll ruin you.
Try, I whispered. Hanging up.
Ruin.
The word echoed as Victor's email pinged. Welcome aboard. Team's eager.
Eager.
For the storm. Goldman Sachs swallowed me whole that first week. Bullpen desks humming with Bloomberg terminals. Coffee runs morphing into war rooms where billions danced on spreadsheets. I thrived in the chaos, dissecting derivatives like cadavers, spotting fractures no one else saw. Victor kept me close, his protege in the making, but the Hale shadow loomed. Ethan's suspension hit the wires Tuesday, associate placed on leave amid SEC inquiry. Mom's voicemails piled up. Weepy please. He's innocent.
Nora.
Help us. Innocent. The lie that buried me. I ignored them, burying myself in work. But the controversial decisions piled like storm clouds. First, the foundation audit. Victor's team flagged irregularities, millions routed through Mom's charity to Cayman trusts. Looks like tax evasion, my colleague, a sharp Yale kid named Theo, muttered over lunch. Your call, flag or fold? Flag. Always flag. But this was Mom's lifeline, the web holding Dad's debts. I drafted the report, fingers trembling, then hit send to compliance. Full disclosure, I typed.
No merci.
By Thursday, IRS agents knocked on the brownstone. Leaked tip. My doing via Kowalski. Mom's scream echoed in my nightmares. How could you? Ethan's countermove landed Friday, a dossier in my inbox.
Anonymous sender.
Screenshots, my 10th gig leaks. The Kessler tip. Timestamps tying back to my IP. Traitor, the note read. Your turn. Panic clawed. He'd hacked me? No, Kowalski's sloppiness. I forwarded it straight to Victor. Counterintelligence needed. He called me in.
Dorshit.
City sprawl mocking from the windows. This Hale mess, it's personal. You sure you're in? Deeper than blood. Ethan's endgame was always control. Framed me once to hide his tracks. Won't let it stick again. Victor's jaw tightened. We can bury this. Or leverage. Hargrove's testifying. Deloitte's crumbling. Your brother's the linchpin. Leverage. The word slithered. Tempting. Controversial as hell. Cut a deal. Flip Ethan for immunity on the family secrets. Betray deeper. Or let the house burn with innocence inside. Dad wasn't clean, but he hadn't swung the hammer. Mom? Complicit, but broken by years of propping up the men. My gut twisted. First life's isolation screaming. Alone again. No, I said finally. Full burn. They chose this. Victor exhaled. Ruthless. I like it. But expect fallout. Fallout hit like a nor'easter. Saturday. Dad showed at my door, disheveled, reeking of scotch, eyes hollow. Nora.
Please.
The IRS froze everything. Ethan's lawyered up. Blaming you. Your mother's. Talking suicide.
Suicide.
The word punched. Motel ghosts rising. I'd ended it once. Pushed by their weight.
Now.
Mirror it back. I let him in. The apartment too small for his guilt. You signed the papers.
Dad.
Disowned me when they cuffed me. He crumpled on the couch. Head in hands. I was scared. Ethan said it'd blow over. Said you stole.
Leet.
Fury boiled. You knew. The poker debts. The schemes. And you let him hang me out. Tears tracked his jowls.
Weak. Always weak.
But family isn't a shield for cowards. I paced, voice rising. I died for your silence. Choked on the poison you all fed me. He froze. Died. The slip, first life bleeding through. I backpedaled. But too late. Figurative. The motel. After prison. Your forgiveness call? It broke me. Dad's face crumpled further. Ethan pushed that. Said it'd bring you home. Home. The trap. I sank beside him. The fight ebbing. Confess. All of it. To Victor. To the feds. Save what's left. He nodded. Broken. For you?
For me.
The first crack in my armor. Monday brought the high wire, Ethan's confrontation. He stormed Goldman's lobby. Security trailing. Face a mask of rage. Nora, he bellowed. Drawing stairs. I met him in the atrium. Glass walls amplifying the echo. You bitch, he spat. Close enough to spit. Ruined everything. Mom's a wreck. Pills again. Dad's folding like wet paper. Good, I said. Voice ice. Karma's a traitor. Short's the guilty. His laugh was manic. Guilty? You were nothing. Clerk trash. Scraping for scraps. I gave you purpose. Framed me. The atrium hushed. Phones discreetly filming. Planted the files. Whispered the doubts. Called me to die. Lies cracked his facade. You were weak. Needed culling. Culling. The word from our childhood games. When he'd eliminate my pawns in chess. But this? Murderous. Security edged closer. But I waved them off. One last play. Confess, I said.
Low.
On record. Or the full ledger drops your crypto cons. Mom's shells. Dad's markers. Goldman's done with you either way. His eyes darted, lobby full of execs. Victor watching from the mezzanine. Checkmate loomed. Sis. No more. I pull my phone. App live. Talk. He broke then. Words tumbling. Admissions. Timelines. The Deloitte setup. The motel nudge. I hated you. Always the smart one. The threat. Security hauled him as he ranted. The atrium a stage for his unraveling. Victor met me upstairs. Hand extended. That was theater. SEC's got the tape. Clean sweep.
Clean?
The word mocked. Mom's arrest followed. Tax fraud. 2 counts. Dad flipped, testifying for leniency.
Ethan?
Indicted. Facing 20. The brownstone sold at auction. Proceeds to victims' funds. But the twist gutted me weeks later. In Victor's office over promotion scotch. One more file, he said, sliding a folder. From Ethan's laptop. Not just fraud, a cover for something bigger. I flipped it open, breath seizing. Photos me. As a kid. With a man not dad, dark hair. My eyes. Letters. DNA report buried in estate docs. Your biological father, Victor said softly. Silas Crow. Hedge fund legend. Died 98. Scandal, insider trading. Ethan knew. Used it to control you. A threatened exposure if you strayed.
Control.
The deepest betrayal, not just theft, but erasure. I'd been the heir, not the afterthought. Ethan had stolen my legacy, framed the imposter to keep the throne. Rage warred with grief. Why tell me now? Closure. And opportunity. Crow's estate unclaimed. Billions, if you claim. Billions. The hook twisted. Revenge complete. But at what cost? Dig up the dead. Rewrite my blood? I claimed it.
Quietly.
Nora Crowhale. The ghost reborn. Goldman fast-tracked me to VP. Victor's right hand. The family scattered. Ethan in Rikers. Mom in rehab. Dad in a one-bedroom. Sending apology cards I burned. But success hollowed without roots.
Edito.
The Yale kid, easy laughs.
Nos a dos.
Traveled. Bali sunsets washing the motel stain. Yet nights. I woke to the reset gasp. The noose phantom. One dawn. Brownstone keys in hand. I'd bought it back. Gutted the ghosts. I stood in the empty kitchen. Sunlight pooling. Not victory. Not quite. But alive. Truly. Fiercely. And that was the real surprise.